Oh, you're from Minnesota.
20 minutes from here.
So how awful was being on the sidelines for the NFC Championship?
Pretty awful. Pretty awful. Actually, I didn't even stay for the game because I didn't want to have to be in the press box. Like I felt so. I had to wear this dog mask on the air. Are we? No,
just
we're
chatting?
on.
No,
Cool.
we're on.
Okay, great. I don't know if I was just telling the story during a break, but I wore a dog mask.
Pug mask.
It wasn't the pug. See, that was the funny thing is I saw on Twitter that the actual underdog mask was selling out rapidly on Amazon, and I could not get my hands on a dog mask, so I ordered this heinous $11.99 poodle mask that really was more wolf with white hair kind of situation, and I put it on the air for CBS Sports Network, and it was all, hoots and hollers, and then did it again for the NFL today. So, and then I was walking out of the stadium because I wanted to go home to watch the game, and thought about giving my dog mask away to an Eagles fan, and I was like, yeah, I'll just keep it in case.
Did they find out that you were a Vikings fan and threw a beer bottle at you anyway?
No, I think the dog mask would have helped me out there. And I'm not a Vikings fan. I mean, I
you're from there. You have support.
Yes, and I think it would have been really cool for the state to have, and the NFL to have a hometown, Super Bowl competing team. But
how do you think this would have been if the Vikings were in the Super Bowl right now? Madness.
Now, well, maybe not as. I take that back. Not like a remarkable difference because we're not seeing like the active Super Bowl participants here milling around. Do you know what I mean? So you're not having like Tom Brady, walking around here.
I thought that was Tom Brady.
No, close.
I interviewed him earlier.
Close. No, but so it's not like you would have had the Vikings actively walking around.
I feel
as
like
much.
People would be pumped. Just in general.
Yeah, that's true.
They'd be at the fan experience, touching the Lombardi
and then you
trophy.
would have at least half the people. Would have been better prepared for the weather that we're dealing with.
I feel like
week.
Eagles fans could figure that out. I don't even think New England fans showed up. They were
you
just
don't think?
Was like,
this is number 6.
Yeah,
and they're
this
just
is the 9th time we've been here in 15 years.
Totally.
I don't have any money left. It's expensive to travel.
Oh, you may be right.
And if you're going to leave Boston to go to Minnesota, Houston makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
we can move it to Hawaii next year. Get out of the cold. I don't need to come north to go to the Super Bowl. I left Toronto, and I came north to Minneapolis. I did not expect that.
Yeah,
I thought I was going south.
Yeah, I've never even thought about that.
No, I had to Google Maps, and I pulled it up. I was like, this is not good.
Oh,
I was like, why is it colder in Minnesota than it is in Toronto?
Yeah, and tomorrow it's going to go down to like a whopping 3 degrees. So.
Yeah, today's the day. We could have done this outdoors today.
We should have. Yeah, we should have.
I don't know if we should.
I don't know if you would have had as many guests, though.
I could smoke outdoors, though.
Oh, is that important to you?
I mean, if I'm going to be stuck here for like 5 straight hours talking,
okay.
I'm going to get real jittery by the end of this. I'm going to pop in like nicotine gum.
Oh, man.
So what are you seeing from around? What have you been doing throughout the course of the week?
Yep. So I go to all the team availabilities, and I am able to hear from the press conferences, the coaches, quarterbacks, all that jazz, and then I package all that information up nicely and send it off to CBS Sports Network land, and you're able to see that coverage from our radio shows that are telecast on Sports Network, and then some of the stuff lives digitally, but and then I get to pop on shows like this in Radio Row and talk a little football. And what I really like about Super Bowl week in general is, sure, it's about the game, but 6-7 days worth of that coverage, you kind of run out of topics to talk about. So I was just talking to a guy based in San Diego, and we get to talk about the Chargers and that struggle, and I'm able to cover 17 I have 17 games a year, and I get to, so it's fun to reflect back on the season as a whole and to talk about different things that went down. So Super Bowl week is really fun.
Is there anyone just awful to be around?
You know what I need to do is I really need to compile this list of like my favorite interviews, my favorite coaches, or whatever.
So when people ask you have something,
because I do, and oftentimes I'm sitting in a room and I have these like terrible interactions, and I'm like, I'm gonna remember this and I'm gonna tell the story later. And then it always escapes me, and I generally
you have
like
stuff to cram into your head while you're doing
this
live.
Right. I generally like to think the best of people, and those production meetings can be challenging at times for some people. So I've had negative interactions, but in general, I don't think that, the teams aren't going to put someone in a situation where they're going to be outwardly rude to the broadcast crew. So sure. I like to give someone the benefit of the doubt that if it's a tough meeting, maybe that's just the one time it happened.
If you're at the player interviews and the media press, did anyone say anything of any substance at all?
You know what? Yes. But in more of the so the setting is, coach does a press conference, quarterback does a press conference, and everyone else is at these little booths. You get to go around to them. So it's tough. If you stay at one person's booth long enough, you're going to hear the same cycle of questions kind of restart. For the Eagles, it's the camaraderie of the team. And
are you excited to be here?
Yes, and what does that mean? And you're going David and Goliath and all these things. If you're at the Patriots, it's how do you get past the hype, and are you used to this yet, and all that jazz. Tom Brady's hand, and it's Gronk playing. So you
Gronk's
do
playing,
get
right?
So apparently he said that last night.
He was playing. I was watching him playing
What,
Madden
video
on
games?
TV. I don't think like that's good for if you have a concussion.
I mean,
playing some vids is probably not the best.
Right? I think that's like number 2 on the things that you shouldn't do when you have suffered a concussion. But I would be surprised if he did not play. I mean, come on, it's Gronk, and the fact that he just. Yes, the long and the short of it is, you do get some genuine content from this. From this setup, but it is more in kind of the intimate setting of not the big rigmarole press conference.
Can you walk me through the week when you show up to these games? Like, when do you get any days off during the year, or is it a 7
Yes, my days off are Monday and Tuesday. That is my weekend.
Fun. I bet you everyone's available to do stuff on those nights, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going out Monday night. Who's in?
A lot of great friends on Monday nights. No, my husband calls me a jellyfish on Mondays. I do nothing. I have a Fitbit, and I literally walk like 12 steps on Mondays. It's like to my couch, and then take my dog out, and then back to bed.
Do you try to do the opposite of what everyone else does, like as few steps as possible?
Yes,
is what I'm
because
aiming
on Sundays
for.
I have like 20,000 steps, so I'm trying to just counteract that. No, so a typical week is I leave on Thursday nights usually for my games. Friday we meet with the home teams at their facilities. We watch practice and then meet with coaches and quarterbacks and
film them
players.
for Bill Belichick.
Right. And then Saturday we meet with the away team at the team hotel. Saturday night we have a big production meeting for our broadcast. Do the game Sunday, fly home Sunday night. Monday I'm a jellyfish. Tuesday I recover, do laundry, unpack, repack. Wednesday I watch the 2 games of the teams I'm having in the upcoming weekend. Just from my perspective, I want to make sure I'm not stepping on anyone's toes in terms of storytelling. And then Thursday I leave again.
Sounds busy.
It's busy, which is why I look like I have big suitcase bags under my eyes right now after 17 weeks straight. And then I go right into college basketball.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so
can't talk about that.
No.
Can't talk about that.
Okay.
But even being at, like, Nessen.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're working up there, because I'm trying to get up and up and up with myself.
Yes.
So you go from Nessen to CBS.
Yes.
Are there... I was talking to actually a wrestler yesterday. He was talking about going through the regional scene before you get to like the WWF and that sort of thing.
Yes.
WWE, sorry.
Yeah.
So is it work the same way with broadcasting?
I think so.
When I went to broadcasting school, they told me this is how it is. You go to some small place, you cut your teeth, you learn all the jobs, you go to a bigger market, you go to a bigger market, you go to a bigger market. I feel like the internet has thrown a real wrench into that.
Oh, it 100% has. It's so fascinating, and that definitely played a role in my career as well. So I kind of skipped the smaller step. I graduated college, and I went and I worked here locally a little bit, and then I jumped right to Nessen. So I didn't have to do the whole like go to Fargo and do what you need to do. I just really lucked out that
Shots
way.
fired at Fargo, by the way.
I thought
that was a major media market.
That was not shots fired. It was. I didn't have to go to those tiers like when you talk about market sizes, like 100 to 200. Like I'm pretty sure Fargo falls into that. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't even know what Dakota is.
I might be wrong.
So.
Yeah. That's shots fired.
I'm Canadian. How am I supposed to know this stuff?
So yeah, when I went from Nessen to CBS, actually my first full-time gig was as a digital host for CBSSports.com down in Fort Lauderdale and doing Fantasy Football Today at noon every day, live on the air with Jamie Eisenberg.
Do you know Nando then? Were you there after Nando?
After. Yes.
In the post-Nando DeFino world.
Yes.
My
exactly.
old boss.
Really?
Nando. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we did not overlap. So yeah, from there, I was doing stuff digitally for fantasy, but then I was doing college football games and the occasional NFL game. But that's when it jumped up to TV. Kind of took over too much. But I completely agree. I think that the .com world of broadcasting is great, gives you so many great reps. It lets you go into certain niches that might not exist on TV, and you get to talk about certain stuff, and then it also is just, people have eyeballs on it.
Do you feel like the preparation, like doing a broadcast and knowing what you have to know for being live on the spot for the games, and even coming from somewhere like fantasy, that's generally what I talk about is fantasy. I feel like there's endless storylines that you just in a different way to research that when you actually go do a real broadcast, not a fantasy-centric broadcast, that you can just talk about stuff that other people just don't see for whatever reason.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was actually just talking to a guy that he has this great idea of doing like a reporter show on Tuesday every week during the NFL season.
Is he a reporter?
He is a reporter, but he's but to do those leftover stories that didn't make the broadcast, because there are so many great interactions or just little stories that might not fit into the nuances of the big storylines that happen in a game, but there's still really cool little nuggets that fans that have the insatiable appetite really want to know. So,
like all the stories that happen, like the pro Saints stories and pro Saints interactions you had.
Yes.
Not in the divisional round before Stefan Diggs walked off with a touchdown, and no one heard any of those stories ever again.
No, exactly. So I think there is definitely a space for all that stuff to kind of be put out there, but it's a fun gig. I mean, there's so much content. The guys are awesome, and I think you can just make the most of it if you really want.
Sounds like a podcast, and you can call it The Leftovers. I hear it has great SEO value.
You are just like idea generating here. I love it. Are you getting a lot of athletes down here?
Yeah, we had Deshaun Watson earlier.
Solid. How was he?
He was good. Walking fine too.
That's good.
Well, it's hard to maneuver here.
Yeah.
And he was like shuffling back and forth.
I had the Texans that week when he went down. I think it was a Thursday. And
were you at the practice?
No, I wasn't.
Did you trip him?
No. No, but I land Friday. He was really building the campaign for not only Rookie of the Year at that point, but for MVP. And so I was so bummed when that happened for a plethora of reasons, just because it's fun to watch him play. But I was so sad that week because I didn't get to talk to him, I heard just wonderful things about him as a player and an athlete, and I really hope he comes back well. But just those nasty ACL injuries for these quarterbacks, so tough.
Fortunately, they can all come back now.
And some of them oftentimes are stronger.
Yeah, well, he's saying like the knee feels all right. I mean, it's been what, 3 months, 4 months?
Well, Carson Wentz, he wants to come back week 1, and he suffered his, week 14?
They'll probably tell him, calm down, Carson.
Yes,
we need you for the long term here. We could probably manage to start an 0-1.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll win the game anyway.
And then they'll still, that's funny.
Any one interaction sticks out from your mind from the season?
From the season, one interaction. Oh, man.
Were you talking Chargers? Were you talking to Phillip Rivers?
We were
Can
talking
he name
to
all of
Phillip
his
Rivers.
kids?
Yeah, he can. That's so funny.
Is it like the scene in Good Will Hunting when they're just reeling everyone off?
No, he can name all of his kids. But from that game, week 1 was interesting start for or it was week 2, excuse me, for Miami, because remember Miami, the hurricane, they had to go to LA, and then they were practicing there all week, and so their week 1 was week 2, and then they played straight through. But the Dolphins, Adam, it was just a funny interaction with that team because they all were scattered throughout the country. And college football kicked off the weekend before that, right? And my sister is married to a big Nebraska Huskers fan. So they had been in Oregon for the Oregon-Nebraska game Labor Day weekend. And so she sends me this photo. My sister does. This is going to have a point to the story.
Okay.
She sends me this photo, and she goes, "Oh, my father-in-law, he's so annoying. He talks to everybody in public. Can you believe this?" And her father-in-law is in a short-sleeve Nebraska Cornhuskers button-down that has like corn cobs on it.
So he's the Sipowicz of Lincoln.
Yes, but they're in Oregon, and he's talking to a man, and I'm like, yeah, that's annoying. And I zoom in on the picture, and I'm like, Jacqueline, my sister, I'm like, that's Ndamukong Suh. What are you doing? She's annoyed at the fact that her father-in-law just talks to strangers. So he no regard for the fact that it's Ndamukong Suh.
So he talks to strangers who are 6'5" and 300 pounds.
Former Husker players or whatever. But that's. So the fact that then I got to talk to Sue the next week, and you talked to my sister's father-in-law last week. He's like, was he the guy in the Cornhuskers button-down? I was like, talked to him about climate change. I was like, oh my God, this is
Where did he
worst.
fall on climate change?
I don't know. I didn't get into it. I just was more like, oh God, this is horrendous. Let's just get past this interaction. So there's one good one from the year.
They gave me the rap. You got to get going.
Okay.
Apparently.
I got to keep just moving down table to table.
Tell everyone what you're up to this week and where they can find you.
Oh man, I will. CBS Sports Network. Pretty much, I think they show my stuff. I'm pretty sure.
CBS? I've never heard of CBS before. Is that one of these small networks?
I send my content off to them, and I just fingers crossed that they use it. But a little bit of the stuff on .com and just social media and all that jazz. Twitter, my full name, Jamie Erdahl, Instagram, all that jazz. I'm just running, just constant. It's a marathon, not a sprint. What am I doing?
You need to sign the ball.
Okay.
Everyone needs to sign the ball.
I always, I had to sign.
You can be first on the brown.
I had to. Are you trying to hide my signature?
I'm not trying to hide it. The white's getting filled up pretty quickly.
Fine, I'll do it. All right, right next to the Duke. I had to sign a hockey stick on Monday. Don't ask me why. And I just always pick the best name, and I just put my name right next to it.
Good call.
And so it was Bud Grant that I got to pick.
Bud Grant.
On the hockey
People
stick.
think you're the commissioner now.
Yeah, now I'm going to be the Duke. I'm right next to the Duke.
Putting your name next to the Duke instead of Roger Goodell, probably a savvy move.
No opinions.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Have fun at Radio Row.
See ya.